Hey, it's Saskia for Pretty Much Geeks. I recently finished reviewing The Last of Us Part 2, which you can check out on our channel as well, and went basically straight into playing this game, so it's been a pretty good last couple of weeks. When I was offered the chance to review Ghost of Tsushima, I kind of sheepishly turned to a fellow gamer colleague and said, "So, what can you tell me about this game?" I hadn't followed the progress of the game's creation, seen any game footage or trailers prior to the beginning. I went in pretty much blind, only knowing I was going to have to put a lot of my personal plans on hold to get through this highly anticipated, mammoth open world game in time. I'm in no way a history buff, so it was kind of great coming into Ghost of Tsushima with no prior knowledge of what went down between the Mongols and the samurai inhabitants of Tsushima Island in the 1270s, which I assume everyone else has extensive knowledge of. Ghost of Tsushima kicks off with the Mongols, led by General Khotan Khan, invading Tsushima Island, bringing with them a fighting style the samurai are in no way prepared for and are unwilling to adapt to, as it goes against their honor code. It's an intense and fairly brutal beginning, which sets the tone for the rest of the game. Even with its epic start, the introductory gameplay did concern me initially. Almost instantly, I walked into an invisible barrier as I tried to have a nosy at a body on the shoreline. An invisible barrier in an open world game. I was frustrated to say the least. Just let me look at the bodies and climb the burning ramp. I'm happy to report though that the opening sequences are the only parts of the game you will encounter invisible barriers. Everything is so beautiful in Ghost. So beautiful. I wanted to stop and use camera mode to take photos all the time, much to the annoyance of my husband who was watching me play. No matter how long I played the game for, the scenery consistently took my breath away. Even showing up in an area I'd already extensively explored, but at a different time of day, was enough to leave me in perpetual awe. And I played it on an original PS4, so I can only imagine what the visual experience would be like on a PS4 Pro. The photo mode in Ghost is almost like a minigame in and of itself. It's accessible by pushing the right directional button, which made it very easy to keep accidentally entering it. Oh well. It's the first game I've actually wanted to try out photo mode in, and boy did I try it exhaustively. You can adjust absolutely everything to create the perfect shot. From weather, including wind strength and direction, time of day and Jin's facial expression, to focal distance, depth of field and color grading. I'm obsessed.
さあ、この癒しの湯にお浸かりになってください。戦に備え、英気を養いたいでしょ?
Now for the answer you've all been waiting for. Do you get to see Jin's butt? Yes. Yes, you do. My husband genuinely exclaimed, "Do you have to take a photo every time? You've got like 7 butt shots now," out of pure disdain for my dedication to capturing his behind from every angle. Please note how his thigh moves at the perfect moment to keep his turn to the camera PG. Masterfully executed. The most incredible thing about Ghost of Tsushima is simply the experience of exploring the vast, rich landscapes of medieval Japan that Sucker Punch have created. Your surroundings feel alive. Everything moves with the wind. Even the sunlight feels alive as it dances on fields of rippling grass. The closest to poetry I will ever get. I do not actually have the words in my vocabulary to describe the beauty of Tsushima. The way the game mechanics blend into the beauty of the surrounding world is extremely impressive. You're literally guided to quest locations by the wind's direction. Fireflies congregate around the bodies of fallen enemies you have yet to loot. It's these small integrations of common game mechanics into the natural environment that makes Ghost of Tsushima such an organic and immersive experience. Collectible resources are shiny and easy to spot as you gallop through the scenic locations, and you can collect them easily as you travel without needing to slow down or dismount. The attention to detail in this game is also very satisfying. If you know anything about me, you know I love my footprints and water ripples. You leave behind footprints, and a swim through a lake will clean your clothes, which inevitably end up covered in mud. The weather changes a lot through the game and assists a huge amount in building atmosphere and tension.
聞け。お前は戦士だ。そうであろう。
Play with Japanese audio if you're able. Please. It was an uncomfortable experience accidentally beginning in English.
Tradition. Courage. Honor.
However, they do not provide subtitles for the random conversations NPCs are having as you roam about the island. So, unless you understand Japanese, you will miss those small details. When I realised this and switched to English for a bit to see what sorts of conversations were being had, I was very torn as to whether I should continue in Japanese or switch to English.
Some Mongols drink so much, it kills them.
Is that even possible? I only saw one man die from too much sake, only because he got too close to the edge of a cliff.
But in the end, I couldn't get as absorbed when the main characters were all running around with kind of British-esque accents.
That doesn't prove his guilt.
No, but it earns my suspicion.
The main plot that you follow with Jin Sakai feels like a solid storyline for a classic samurai flick that I would personally watch and love. Thanks to Naughty Dog setting the bar for games that feel like playable movies, and only having recently exited the world of The Last of Us Part 2 myself, I couldn't help but notice that Ghost doesn't quite hit the mark in that regard.
ありがとうございます。
But it comes damn close. It particularly shines in that respect during its climactic battle sequences. They're insane and incredibly good fun. For a decent chunk of the game, I felt pretty unaffected by the whole thing. As you'd expect, given the game's setting, the characters are all pretty stern and serious, and it was hard to feel connected to a bunch of stubborn Japanese men from a very different time.
己のざれ言は聞かん。殺せ。
So I didn't really think the storyline was penetrating my cold, dead heart. As it turns out, I was wrong. My emotional investment with the progression and conclusion of Jin's relationship with his uncle, Lord Shimura, kind of snuck up on me.
殴られたのか。いえ。
Yuna is also a large part of why I ended up loving the story of the game. Even though she isn't the game's protagonist, it could be argued that she is the most integral character to the game's overall feel and direction.
忍び込むしか手はないからね。
まるで野党だ。
不満でもあるのかい。
She's a no-nonsense, badass lady that challenges and directs Jin at every turn. Yuna is only one of many allies you'll get to meet and grow to love through the side quests and over the course of the game's main journey. Allies are actually very helpful during battles as well. There were definitely several times when an ally's quick actions either saved me from a finishing blow or turned the tide.
当時で逆売り。
そんで島一番の山師。
Full of diverse characters, interesting challenges, and freaking awesome rewards, each side plot that I did manage to experience enriches the overall story.
仕込みました。壁登りや谷渡りに役立つかと。
While engaging with a tale, aka quest, the game limits the open world experience by timing out and pulling you back on track when you stray off course, which could be kind of annoying if you just wanted to reach that shiny bit of bamboo over the hill.
ではわしの防御を崩せ。堺陣が優ある武士だと示してみよう。
The way tutorials for new aspects of gameplay are integrated are truly masterful. Along with bamboo stand challenges, which I really sucked at, hunting for shrines and showing off Jin's booty at the hot springs. A beautiful part of the game that I was constantly looking out for was the composing of haikus. I would take a lot of time to attempt to create the perfect haiku. It was a serene experience in the midst of the horrors of war Jin was constantly facing.
世を映し海原深くくくりたれば一本の木のただ追い登れ
Animals are a large part of the game, and often are used to guide you to important locations. You select your companion horse very early in the game and get to name it as well. It comes running whenever you whistle, which sometimes creates some mind-bending moments. For example, if you leave your horse on top of a cliff and call it while looking up at it from the ground, the game doesn't quite know how to deal with that. Horse glitches aside, you do share many moments of super cute affection, and the bond that forms between you and your horse is genuinely an emotional thing to experience. Yellow birds should always be followed, and the discovering of fox dens always leads to a special experience and a totally adorable interaction. Bears, dogs and boars are the only aggressive animals you will encounter and are incentivized to kill for resources. Whereas you will find no benefits from attacking or killing birds, deer or foxes. And why would you even want to? Frolicking with deer, patting foxes and admiring the wildlife are some of the most enriching in-game experiences. Also, and this probably should have been obvious to me, but bears can climb. I absolutely loved how Jin's fighting style developed over time. It was pure genius. He begins as such an annoyingly noble and self-righteous samurai. He's all about announcing himself and challenging people to one-on-one combat to uphold the honor code of the samurai. Sorry, I'm a jerk. It really annoyed me. I spent a good portion of the early game frustratedly yelling at the screen, "Damn it, Jin, just sneak up and attack people like I want you to." I was all about the stealth. Luckily, Yuna is an excellent corruptor, and she quickly talks Jin into all sorts of deliciously violent and dishonorable deeds. The stealth aspect of Ghost of Tsushima is really fun. You scope out areas and engage in some wise surveillance before you approach, making sure you know the best place to approach from and the order in which you will execute your mission. Focused hearing allows you to detect the presence of enemies and also quiet and chaotic battle sounds in some situations, which could be really helpful. Stealth kills can also be some of the most satisfying and epic ways to deal with multiple enemies at once. Can you tell that I loved stealth? You eventually get to learn 4 main stances by which Jin can gain advantage over various enemy types. It takes quite a while to learn all 4 stances, as you need to kill or observe various leaders to unlock them, which was a little frustrating while facing all types of enemies from early on in the game. However, combat is really fun. You can kill people in so many different ways. You can throw kunai, snipe with your bow, slice and dice with your sword, engage in standoffs, interact with a combat environment, and even utilize some far less savoury methods, which I will not spoil. I was initially very disappointed by the apparent lack of limb severing, but let me tell you that the techniques tree, mythic techniques in particular, unlocked limb severing and violence beyond my wildest dreams. I spent so much time agonizing over my skill tree choices. They're all excellent and it's so hard to prioritize one awesome skill over another. One thing I did feel that the combat lacked was the ability to lock on to any particular enemy. The game definitely does assist in this area by kind of pulling Jin's focus towards particular enemies, but as it isn't quite a proper lock-on feature, certain moments of combat could end up being pretty frustrating. In fact, I think I probably experienced the worst combat moment of my entire life due to this. I just could not hit the little jerk. Despite the small issues and gripes I had with Ghost of Tsushima, it is an experience like no other. A glimpse into another time, another culture rich with history. Its unique set pieces, stunning landscapes, and challenging, diverse combat moments are already calling me back for another playthrough. It's a breathtaking and inspiring creation of beauty and brutality that will captivate you for its entirety.